I was living with my fiance, Gary, in New York City, and we were in our first apartment and struggling to pursue our aspirations there together. And my Gary left me.
Hi, I'm Garrison.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an entire 2 weeks since we last checked in on Tweedledee and Tweedledum over at the DreamWorld Foundation. Of course, since the release of their alpha, they promised that every Friday they would be releasing an update. Well, that means 2 weeks worth of updates to look over. So, it's not even a joke at this point. I don't know why I'm laughing. So, let's take a look at the first week's patch notes. Once again, distributed on the Google Drive. And as it says, previous releases will no longer work. I can confirm to you that that is not the case. Patch notes for the first weekly patch. Elysian Spirit Lantern, placed to better protect builds in the wild. Everything in the wild outside of what you protect will heal back at the end of the week. Explicit rotation improvements. Click on the coloured axes to try. Load time improvements. Lots more to come. Resource cheats fixed. Resource reset this week as a result. Minimap added. Multiplayer integration coming soon. Speedy City sidewalks. Nerf incoming. Steam VR fix. I'm not going to lie, already for the first week of patch notes, this sounds like an absolute cursed update. Let's walk through this one by one. The Elysian Spirit Lanterns, inside the assets code, well, there is no code. These never functioned from the day they were added. They were just decorative. Because they never actually had to protect anything, because me and Skiezo weren't there anymore. However, they also claim that everything will heal back at the end of this week. That is also false, as in the next week's update, they claim that they'd never added it in the first, and they don't intend to add it in the second either. So we can rule those lanterns out day one, because they have no functionality and no code inside the class file. Explicit rotation improvements. I've asked everybody, and there is nobody that can figure out what this even means. The rotation is absolutely horrible still, and we can't figure out what they apparently did differently. Load time improvements. The only thing they did to improve load times was removing me and Skiezo from the main world and attempting to shadow ban us. All the assets we placed were removed. That is the only thing that they changed for load times. Which naturally, removing 500,000 assets is definitely going to reduce load times. Resource cheats fixed. No, they're not. Me and Skiezo got in the game and immediately cheated resources once again. Minimap added. Right. Yes, you bought a $1.50 asset. Or $2, I believe. You bought a $2 multiplayer map asset that you have somehow managed to not get to work with multiplayer. Good job. Speedy City sidewalks, nerf incoming. Now, if you've added it in this patch, why did you not just reduce the speed before launching it, instead of launching it and saying you're going to nerf it? It's literally a single value that you have to change, and I'm going to show this later. Steam VR fix. This has been an issue from the beginning. They told this in Unreal Engine that it was a VR title. So it naturally tried to launch on Oculus or Steam VR every single time. I pointed this out on day one, that this is a checkbox that they removed the check mark from. That is it. That's all they ever had to do. And they couldn't do it. Until today. Well, until last week. DreamWorld is continuing to hire. They're not. Every account that comes in as a developer was created within 24 hours, never speaks, and will never type at the same time as Grit or Garrison. As Wolf or Garrison. I don't believe these are even real people. I'm certain that they're allegedly hiring people, but they're just second accounts, so it looks like they've got a full team. Now, you might think, Cal, you're really ripping into these people for their patch notes, though. But here's the thing. A lot of you are aware of the PC Gamer article that me, Josh, and Kira all were interviewed for. Now, you'll notice a lack of comments from Zach and Garrison in there, but it's not from lack of trying. The writer of that article actually did reach out to Zach and Garrison, and the response that they got, and I have this on good faith that they said this, is, sorry, we are unable to comment at this time about any allegations, as me and every member on the team are working 80-hour weeks to accomplish this next week's update and make sure it's the best it can possibly be. So, 80 hours per person times 4 people on the team, that's 320 hours a week in man hours alone. Now, this doesn't really hold water, because if this is 320 hours of work, yeah. Not to mention that a second week of patch notes came out this week. Let's go through those. Welcome to Weekly Alpha Development Release number 3. Hunt for treasure chests across DreamWorld loaded with goodies. Right, now those are so borked, it is unbelievable. And we'll show why later. Minimap now has XY coordinates, perfect for sharing treasure chest finds. Yes, that is a checkmark in the plugin that they purchased as well. City undergoing extensive beautification. Crystal collection buffed ×3. Also false. World healing delayed 1 week to give people time to collect more crystals. No, there was never code for it and it never worked. So it's not being delayed, it just doesn't exist. Sprint now default. Again, a toggle box. So we've now got 640 combined man hours of work over 2 weeks. They added usable doors. Now, you might be thinking, Cal, but that's so easy. There's no way they've fucked that up. It's not possible, Cal. Oh, but it is. If I told you that this door rotated in 45-degree increments, clockwise, and only clockwise, on a 360-degree pivot, and is basically a revolving door with no functionality whatsoever, would you be surprised? Well, you shouldn't be. Because that's exactly what they've done. They have managed to make a door, and by the way, this door isn't storing its own rotational value. All they've done is the code basically says, if they have clicked on a door, take the door's rotation and add 45 degrees to it. This is the laziest implementation of a door I have ever seen. And in fact, I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to make it how they've currently implemented it, and then I'm going to make it how they should have, and show to you just how little time it takes to do this correctly in the first place. And it is not rocket science. I decided that being as we'd got some time to kill in this video, that I was going to do an any percent speedrun of programming some of their coveted features, such as their speedy sidewalks. I start off by adding collision to my pre-made road asset that they already had as well, so I'm not getting a head start here. We add collision so that this road can detect if any player is touching it. I then add collision detection for players overlapping and players ending overlap. From those we drag off and check if the thing overlapping it is in fact a player. We use a few nodes to confirm this, and then to grab the exact player from said collision. This is not a hard concept, and in fact you're going to see that this takes almost no time at all. We then grab the player's speed, because we want to modify it. We tell it to get the player's speed and add 2000 to the value. And that's it. We then also want to mimic this for the end overlap event, so that when we get off the road, we do the opposite. We deduct 2000 to return the player to its normal speed. Again, this is all incredibly basic stuff, and I've left my mistakes in there to show that even with mistakes and a non-curated video, this can be done within about a minute or two. There we go. That's Speedy Roads done. In 109 seconds, we have done one of their updates. Why stop there? I mean, we've done the road, so why not fix those doors of theirs? I mean, at least let's try and make the doors that they made. We'll do this all in the same speedrun, because why not? This one's going to blow your mind as well. This is how lazy the implementation of their doors were. Yep, that's it. That's all it took. 2 minutes 20 to recreate the two features that took them time, because the others don't exist. But again, why stop there? We might as well do the doors correctly. So I'll restart the timer while we talk, and I'll have this running in the background. Now, what you're going to realise from this is that, in fact, the 640 hours that these guys have apparently put into this game development session, you know, the last 2 weeks of game development, is in fact absolute nonsense. I was going to remake the treasure chest feature as well, except nobody can seem to find one. We looked for ages, and I don't believe these are even in the game or the world at all. If they are, I'll correct this at a later point, but they might just be very well hidden. Either way, if all of these updates that they've actually had to put work into has taken a collective of, well, 2 to 3 minutes, I'm sure they've got hours, hundreds of hours, to be able to make a treasure chest work. I think at this point you're probably starting to realise why their beta, or why it took so long to get all of this together. They claimed 8 months of development, and there's no wonder not a single one of these have a clue what they're doing. Here in the new implementation of the door, the way that they should have done it, we're having the door store its initial rotation so that it can open 90 degrees and then return back to its initial state. We're using a timeline to do this, and it will interpolate between 0 and 90 degrees and then reverse. I threw a bit of logic in there to make sure that it knows what state it's in. Is it open? Is it closed? And these don't have to be saved as variables. It can do this by checking its current rotation. And there we go. That's the logic. Now all we need to do is set up the door to take on its initial rotation plus the new rotation value on the timeline. This has all been set up as I'm telling you this. This is in real time. Nothing here is sped up. This is really how long it takes to make a working door. And again, this is being implemented in exactly the way that they have implemented their updates. This is not being implemented to work server-side, as everything is done client-side. This code runs on the client. This is exactly as it is done in DreamWorld. And there we have it, guys. A door that actually works as a door. It opens 90 degrees and it closes 90 degrees. Couldn't be simpler. Of course, we're not going to be counting adding the minimap, because again, that is a drag and drop asset. That is a 10-second job, and it should be a 10-second job whether you are the most advanced developer or you've just picked up Unreal Engine. The treasure chests, from what we can gather, all that happens when you go up to them is that they give you 100 of every resource, from what I've been told. Now, I don't need to tell you this, they already have the code in there to give you resources. So again, this implementation, I promise you, is sub 1 minute. With that said, guys, there really isn't much more I can show you on this. These guys seem to have closed their Discord off entirely at this point, and it is impossible to get inside. We do have people inside that are relaying us information, but I will be keeping updated on any moves that they make with this, because I'm not allowing these guys to get away with this. I will keep at this until they meet justice, until they either end up in court or they meet some sort of legal implications outside of that. Because this is wrong. They are taking a large payday every month, a huge paycheck, a developer's paycheck of money that have come from people who have been scammed, most of which children. So I'm keeping laser focused on these guys until something happens. And trust me, something will happen. As always, a massive thank you to Cassius and Zane for being top tier patrons. Also, a massive thank you to Jupiter for allowing me to use their music in my outros. Definitely go check them out on Spotify in the links in the description below.